Hello, WWE Hall of Famer, the hardcore icon, Mick Foley here, covering for future WWE Hall of Famer, Adam Pacitti, with your afternoon news roundup. Let's take a look at the headlines. Have a nice day. It's definitely me. WWE are reportedly forming a new stable on Monday Night Raw. Impact Wrestling have teased a major Backstage signing. And Booker T has given some interesting comments regarding a future Christian WWE match. We'll get there in a bit. Hey, sorry, it's Adam Pacitti again. Mick Foley had to go and jump off something massive, so I'm covering for him now. WWE are reportedly planning on forming a new stable on Monday Night Raw. So you may remember a few weeks ago there were reports that Apollo Crews was going to turn heel. He's now won the United States Championship. The plan originally was for him to turn heel and then align himself with MVP and Thorne and Vink. Remember them? I forgot that was even a thing, and it's so recent as well. So recent. Apparently plans have changed a little bit, but the plan to turn him heel is still going to go ahead. This week on Raw, he was a little bit naughty, wasn't he? In his match with Andrade, he held onto the ropes to pick up the win, so maybe that's a sign that this is going to happen sooner rather than later. Anyway, it's not going to be with Thorne and Vink anymore, but they do plan on forming a new stable, which will be MVP as primarily the mouthpiece, but also wrestling here and there, as we've seen him do. Bobby Lashley, obviously. Apollo Crews will be part of that, and the new name to be added to that is Shelton Benjamin. Obviously, we saw Shelton Benjamin on Monday Night Raw this week, which is a rarity. We don't see him pop up that often, especially in 2020. He's been doing the odd bit on the C shows, but we saw him this week on Raw. And apparently, in the coming weeks, those guys are going to form a stable together, which I'm all for, which I really am, because it looks like the Vega boys, Zelina Vegas' lads, Zelina Vegas? Johnny Vegas' sister. Zelina Vega's boys are breaking up. That doesn't seem to be a thing anymore, which is a bit of a shame, because I was kind of enjoying it, but I don't know, they were getting a lot of TV time and put in quite a difficult position. They were the focal point of quite a few episodes of Raw over the past couple of months. Anyway, it looks like they are going to be the dominant stable on Raw, MVP's lads, and I'm all for it. I really like it, just because I think that's a great array of talent that you've got there, and it's a few guys who don't really have much personality or haven't shown much personality during their time in WWE, especially like this time around for Shelton Benjamin. He's not really done much. He did a little bit with Brock. But that was pretty much it. That's the most notable thing he's done. Apollo Crews, amazing wrestler, the same as Shelton Benjamin, two great wrestlers, but not really, the characters aren't really there. And Bobby Lashley, sisters and so on. He's done stuff, but he hasn't been great. He's a guy who needs a mouthpiece, and I think those guys together could be really successful. I love a stable in wrestling. I really love a stable in wrestling. It appears, though, just from sort of past experience, we know that Vince McMahon doesn't love a stable. So my fingers are very much crossed for MVP's boys. But it's an uphill battle, isn't it? I'll say that much. Next up, Impact Wrestling have teased a major Backstage signing. This happened on Aftershock, which is the post-Impact show. On Impact, by the way, last night, just in case you missed it, they're also teasing, promising, a former world champion to return to the company. So they showed a video with all sorts of people on there. They're like Bully Ray, EC3, it could be EC3, but also it was like Kurt Angle, Sting, Drew McIntyre was on there? I don't think so, lads. I think it's going to be Eric Young, personally. That's my bet. Lock that in now. Anyway, after the show, they're doing Aftershock. And Don Callis is speaking to Jimmy Jacobs, and then halfway through this, he gets a phone call from Scott D'Amore. This is Don Callis gets a phone call from Scott D'Amore. And he's like, oh, sorry, man, you're on the air right now. Wait, what? Who are we signing? How did we get him, brother? Don't worry, it's not Hogan. It's not Hogan. Here to kill Impact again. He carries on and he's like, oh, well, I used to work for him in the bingo halls. You know who we're talking about now, right? Flash his picture up, Owen. Oh, isn't he magnificent? So he continues. Someone we didn't even think was available might be coming here. And I'll say this, I learned a lot from him. From 99 to 2001, do your homework, everyone. All you internet people out there, you figure out who I'm talking about, who's undergone some changes recently. So, obviously, hinting that Paul Heyman might be Impact bound. Don Callis and Paul Heyman, of course, working together in ECW. You don't need me to tell you that. Is it going to happen? It all felt a little bit tongue-in-cheek, right? I mean, definitely... Scott D'Amore did not start talking about Heyman's arrival in Impact. I think it was a little bit of a rib and a little bit of PR, a little bit of a, I don't want to call it attention seeking, a publicity stunt, shall we say. And it's worked, because here I am talking about it. Will Heyman go to Impact Wrestling? Well, I don't think so personally. I think, he's going to make far more money just being an on-screen performer in WWE than I would imagine Impact are able to offer him. At the same time, he's a guy who likes doing behind-the-scenes stuff. He's spoken in interviews many times before about how much he enjoys doing the behind-the-scenes stuff, producing wrestling and doing the creative side of things. So if they were to get him, maybe that's tempting enough. Maybe money isn't going to be the most important thing, and he'll want to help a promotion grow. He's a guy who's incredible at what he does, for sure. And a lot of people were very sad that Paul Heyman will no longer be serving creative for WWE. Not Vince McMahon, but a lot of the fans were. So will it happen? No, I don't think so personally. But the fact that they've got us talking about it is a good thing. And yeah, check out Slammiversary. It's coming soon. You did your job, guys. Next up, and unless you've been living under a rock, you will know by now that Christian made his triumphant in-ring return on Monday Night Raw, taking part in an unsanctioned match with one Viper. It wasn't really a match at all. The bell rang and then out comes Ric Flair, hoofs him in the ghoulies, and then Randy Orton kicks him really hard in the noggin. 1, 2, 3, thanks a lot, Christian. However, Booker T has been talking about this on his podcast, and Booker T seems to think that Christian's not done yet. In fact, he's mentioned a specific pay-per-view at which he thinks Christian is going to wrestle again. Proper this time. So, speaking on Booker's podcast, and I quote, you get the bug once you get back in. Once you get a little taste, I don't know why I did that. It's something that just wants to pull you back in. Something that wants to draw you back in. Make you feel like, I can do this. We all feel that way. We all feel like we got one last run. And Christian, I'm going to tell you right now, after just getting in the ring, just making that walk, I can only imagine if there had been 10, 15, 20,000 people in that arena, he would have really lost his mind when going back to the hotel room. He would have had goosebumps looking in the mirror, thinking, I can still do this. I don't think it's going to be a one-off. I think Christian's going to come back. I think he's going to get the bug. I think Christian will be at Extreme Rules in the ring. And the thing is, he'll have time to get ready for it. Ooh, yes, please. This was, of course, Christian's first match in, 6 years? And it was, it was amazing. It was really, it was just, I think it was a great Raw. We'll talk about the Raw ratings rather in just a moment. But I think it was a really, really fun Raw. And the thread that they weaved throughout the show involving Christian was compelling stuff. It really, really was. As far as him getting back in the ring for one more match, yeah, I'd love to see it, because his departure from WWE and his departure from wrestling was so unceremonious, and it was great seeing him back and being a part of a brilliant storyline. But one more match with Randy Orton, who we all know he has fantastic chemistry with. They had an amazing series of matches. Yeah, I'm so into it. So time will tell. I feel like Booker T probably wouldn't be teasing this unless he knew something. Do you feel the same way? I don't know. It's a weird one. It's sort of like he's laid that out there, and although it's all sort of, he's just speculating, and he's going, yeah, he's going to get goosebumps when he gets back to his hotel room and that. Like, maybe he's chatted with him. Maybe he knows something that we don't. I imagine he knows a lot of things that we don't. Shucky ducky quack quack. Yes, please. Bring Christian back. Dr. Seuss. Next story. And finally, let's talk about some ratings, shall we? We love to talk about ratings. And it's been a very good week for WWE, which isn't a sentence that normally comes out of my mouth when we're talking about ratings, because they have been going down and down and down and down. But this week's Raw was an exception, and on average, 1.939 million people watching the show. It's got to be pointed out that you can't offer something as massive as the in-ring return of Christian every single week. It was a pretty decent week as far as, you know, a big surprise and all that goes. So that's going to get people watching for sure. But also, it's got to be mentioned that this is the first episode of Raw which hasn't had Paul Heyman at the helm. It's been Bruce Pritchard, of course, and a lot of us were very worried about Bruce coming in and taking over and doing both, and just wanting to please Vince McMahon with fart jokes, and maybe this wouldn't be for us. And people's pushes would be derailed. But overall, I think this week's episode of Raw was excellent. And in my opinion, probably the best episode of Raw in the empty arena era. Can't call it that anymore because there's people. The not allowed to wear a mask, maybe, era. I thought it was good. But again, time will tell. We'll see. Thank you very much for tuning in to this news video. I hope you're all wonderful. I will see you tonight for NXT reactions at 1 a.m. BST, which makes it 8 p.m. ET. Oh, look it up. You've got Google. Have a good day. See you in a bit.